Greetings and welcome to our daily walk through the scripture for June the 14th. Your readings today find you in 1 Kings chapter 14, 1 Kings chapter 15 verses 1 through 24, Acts chapter 10, 1 through 23, Psalm 133, 1 through 3, and Proverbs chapter 17 verses 7 and 8. Now, as you look in the stories of 1 Kings and you look through these different chapters, you're going to find some things that are unique that differentiate it from the Chronicle stories that are going to come in a little bit later. So when you read 1st and 2nd Chronicles, like I said before, they're going to focus really on the line of David, the kings of Judah. But they're going to try to paint them in a positive light. They're going to try to make them, lift them up a little bit. And, I don't know if maybe the king was looking over the shoulder when the guy was writing the Chronicles or what. But we do know that 1st Kings and 2nd Kings is a little bit more blunt about things. And so they're going to offer details that we're not going to necessarily get somewhere else. For example, after Rehoboam dies, his son Abijah takes over, Abijah takes over, and in verse 3 of 1 Kings 15 it says he committed all the sins his father had done before him, talking about Rehoboam. And his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his forefather had been. This is going to be a common theme for those kings that don't do well, that are not good kings. Spoiler alert, there are a lot less good kings than there are bad kings, just so you know. There's going to be quite a few bad kings that are going to happen. However, verse 4, this is important. Nevertheless, for David's sake, the Lord his God gave him a lamp in Jerusalem by raising up a son to succeed him and making Jerusalem strong. This is God continuing to fulfill his promise regardless of the choice that David and his ancestors have made. God doesn't make covenants with us that we can keep. God makes covenants with himself because he is the only one that can truly keep those covenants. And he's keeping it regardless of what the behavior is. And so David's line is going to continue. We know this because Jesus is of the line of David. That doesn't mean that these kings are going to be good. That doesn't mean that these kings are going to, even when they're good, have great blessings. Israel is not going to be as prosperous as it was under the time of Solomon. At no point from that point on will we see Israel, Judah have prosperity. As a matter of fact, Israel and Judah are going to be butting heads a lot. And you see that already in 1 Kings 15. You see it happening where they're going to fight, and you're going to see wars between these clansmen happen constantly because they can't get on the same page. But there will be some lights. There will be some good kings. Verse 9, in the 20th year of Jeroboam, remember Jeroboam of Israel, so we're going to have these two parallel things here. Asa becomes king of Judah. Okay? And in verse 11, Asa did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, as his father David had done. And if you're wondering how bad things got, the very next verse should give you a bit of an idea. He expelled the male shrine prostitutes from the land. It's like, wow. It was so bad that prostitution was a religion at this stage. I mean, that's that's bad. But it shows that he does incredible things. He really makes some wonderful things, and he gets rid of all of the false worship places. He even kicks his grandmother out of her role because of the bad influence that she was. But not everything is rosy, like I said a minute ago. And Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, we're going to learn about Baasha shortly, they fight. After Jeroboam passes away and we get a new king, which, by the way, is not in the line of Jeroboam, because, as we saw in the previous chapter, Jeroboam and his family do not meet a good ending. But they're going to fight, and they're going to continue to argue and struggle. But ultimately what we're going to find is that God is going to keep his promise even when we can't keep ours. God is going to be faithful even when we cannot be faithful. And these are important reminders for us as we continue to read through these lineages and read through everything that happens here. Okay, now we're going to talk about Acts tomorrow because the story of Cornelius is a big deal. This is going to expand that bullseye that we were talking about, and it's going to explode the church. But we're going to talk about that because we got to give justice to that in the conversations that Peter has with the fellow elders and apostles and leaders of the church in Jerusalem. Okay, so with that being said, we'll talk more tomorrow.